There's something familiar about Manchester United's signing of Matteus Cunha and Bryan and Mbeumo. Something that takes you back to a previous era at United. For over 2 decades, Sir Alex Ferguson had a formula that almost seemed too simple. Why gamble when you don't have to? Why not avoid risks? Manchester United's transfer approach this summer under INEOS shows a hint of mirroring Fergie's playbook, targeting Premier League players who've already proven themselves able to thrive under English football's unique demands. However, Fergie's approach was about more than just minimising risk and adaptation periods, and he knew there were gems to be found even in relegated teams. One of his greatest ever signings was from a relegated team. Do you know who? I'll tell you later. There was a secret to it as well, and one I'm about to explain, and how important it was for a blueprint for sustained success that made United a destination every player dreamed of. From Cantona in 1992 to Persie in 2012, many of Fergie's greatest signings shared one crucial trait. They'd already proven themselves in English football. They understood the pace, the physicality and the demands. They knew what it took to succeed in the world's most demanding league. While other clubs chased potential in less familiar markets, United found guarantees on their own doorstep. Not because of laziness or lack of imagination, but by strategy and calculation. Premier League proven. It was a criteria rooted in understanding English football's unique character. We've seen both United and the Premier League can be the graveyard of foreign talents who arrived with stellar reputations but couldn't adapt to the demands. For every success story, there are countless failures. United have just been particularly good at finding them. However, it's not just a United problem. Let's have a look at some names from other teams. Mudryk, 89 million. Enzo Fernandez, improving, but far from a £170 million signing. Havertz, never really got going at Arsenal. Darwin Núñez, 85 million, patchy. Nicolas Pepe, 72 million, disaster. Anthony, 86 million. Højlund, 72 million. Sancho, 73 million. I'm going to stop there before I start crying. But before we move forward, we need to go back. In 1992, United were title hungry, still trying to end that pain of a 26-year title drought. They'd missed out on the title the previous season to Leeds by 4 points. Then Fergie made a decision that transformed English football. He signed Cantona from Leeds for £1 million. Leeds just won the title. Fergie bought their best player. And with him, he brought United's first league title in 26 years and the template was born. Fergie never forgot that lesson. He doubled down the following season. Roy Keane arrived from Forest, another player who'd proven himself in the league, but this time with a drastic difference. Fergie wasn't looking to the previous season's champions to sign players. Forest had just been relegated, but Fergie saw beyond this. He saw that warrior who understood what English football demanded, and Keane became United's heartbeat in the engine room in their golden era. The beauty of this approach was how much it limited risk. While other clubs took expensive gambles or unknown quantities, United invested in proven commodities. Ironic, given Fergie's well-known penchant for a flutter. Van der Sar's arrival in 2005 perfectly illustrated Fergie's approach. United had cycled through the keepers since Schmeichel left. Bosnich, Bartes, Carroll, Taibbi. Each brought different problems and uncertainties, and none of them were good enough. Van der Sar was 34 and had just finished 13th with Fulham, seemingly past his peak, but Fergie saw what others missed. Premier League experience, the Champions League pedigree, and that composure. He arrived and immediately solved United's biggest problem. This elimination of adaptation periods was probably a key component to United's relentless success. While rivals waited 6 to 12 months for new signings to settle, United's Premier League proven players hit the ground running from match day 1. No momentum lost and no drop points. Fergie understood that every point mattered, and you couldn't afford passengers. That's something that's become a major issue at United, not just under Ruben Amorim. What's particularly interesting about the case of Van der Sar is that United tried to sign him when Schmeichel left the club in '99, but he'd already committed to Juventus. United fans now say that with hindsight, should have signed him when he left Juve for Fulham in 2001, which seems sensible, but it makes you wonder. Would he have adapted as perfectly as he did if he hadn't spent those 4 seasons in the league at Fulham? We'll never know. The Prem-proven method worked on the other end of the experience scale too. Rooney's arrival in 2004 proved this philosophy to be a major success. Every major club in Europe was circling. Real Madrid, Barca, Chelsea all had the resources to compete, but United paid a record £27 million for a teenager because Fergie had seen him terrorise Premier League defences with Everton. I don't need to tell you about the success that the Rooney signing was. But Fergie's method brought more benefits than just shorter adaptation periods, and that's where the secret in plain sight lay. Every signing from a Premier League rival was a double victory. United got stronger while their competitors got weaker. Fergie understood that particularly in football, perception is reality. When United consistently attracted the Premier League's best talents, it sent a message to every player, agent and club. Old Trafford was where the champions belonged. The method had its downsides. Domestic players cost more, demanded higher wages, and came with inflated expectations. But Fergie understood this, and would occasionally take gambles on high potential players from abroad before they had established themselves. But he also understood this in football. The most expensive signings are the ones that don't work out. Rivals spent fortunes on foreign Galacticos who struggled to adapt. United's Premier League proven signings delivered immediate results. Now, the ultimate validation of Fergie's philosophy came in two ways. One in his final season with Robin van Persie, Arsenal's captain. He chose United over everyone else in 2012, and it was a transfer that once again proved 2 decades of sticking to a proven method correct. 26 goals later, United had their 20th title, and Fergie had his perfect farewell. And the second validation came after Fergie's retirement, because United chased big names and exotic talents, forgetting the simple wisdom that had served them so well. Di Maria, Falcao, Schweinsteiger, Van der Beek, Anthony Sancho, and that's not the half of it. Talented players who never adapted to English football. So United spent hundreds of millions learning what Fergie had spent the last 2 decades showing them. Talent without Premier League understanding is a gamble, and more often than not, for United at least, it wasn't worth the risk. Other clubs had great success using Fergie's blueprint. City signed the likes of Mahrez, Sterling, Stones, Walker. Chelsea built a title-winning team around the likes of Kante and Fabregas. Proof the formula still reaps successes for those who in the modern game could afford to apply it. Now this summer at United, there has been a return to that familiar. Have the people in charge looked at United's history and drawn clear conclusions about what worked and didn't? Cunha represents that return. A player who's proven himself over multiple seasons in England and someone who's up to the league's physical and mental demands, whilst also having the quality. His numbers tell the story of that Premier League adaptation. 15 goals and 16 assists in his last season compared to just 2 goals and 0 assists in his first at Wolves. And then there's Bryan Mbeumo, who fits the profile perfectly too. A Premier League player who's proven and hungry for that step up to United off the back of a 20-goal season in the league. He represents exactly the type of signing Fergie would have made, maybe similar to a Valencia, a Tevez, a York. And the angry reaction from rival fans when it was reported United was Mbeumo's first choice, that's exactly the response Fergie used to generate. History maybe is repeating itself in that sense when it comes to that strategy. Fergie's model comes with an updated challenge because, everybody's bloody expensive. Rice's 105 mil move to Arsenal, Grealish 100 mil to City, Caicedo 115 mil to Chelsea. The fees have exploded. That's why balance is imperative, and Fergie did know this. He used those Premier League proven players as the foundation. The key was never being entirely dependent on one type of recruitment method. Today's competitive landscape is also more complex. City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, even Newcastle have all got the resources to compete. So United have got to be smarter, faster and more decisive. But maybe INEOS seem to understand that United's future success might be built on lessons learned from a successful past. Not every signing needs to be a romantic, high-risk gamble. The question isn't whether Fergie's model can work in modern football. Recent evidence suggests it absolutely can. The real question is whether United have got the finances required to pay for that luxury in the modern game. For a generation of United fans who've witnessed a decade of transfer chaos, a return to Fergie's blueprint offers something precious. The promise that maybe the club is remembering what works. Have INEOS actually learnt from Fergie's blueprint? Or will they be tempted by the same mistakes that haunted the post-Fergie era? And which Premier League proven player could United target next?